Morning. Good morning.
What's up, Coach?
Nothing. How you doing?
I'm great.
Good.
Coach, as you went back and looked at the film against the Heat, what kind of stood out to you on your rewatch?
I thought there was a lot of good. You go back and you give Miami a ton of credit for, one, how hard they play, how much they mix up the defense, the physicality. I think our guys handled it well. Their ability to stay poised in moments. We were able to get out in transition, which we've talked about, being able to play faster, the quicker decisions, us sharing the basketball. I think those were all positives from our game.
Talk about kind of playing faster. I think it was the second highest possession game of the league so far.
Yeah.
Just what's the challenge of kind of learning to play with a lot more possessions and kind of maybe adjusting recalibrating what is a successful scoring output, or what's good defense when you're playing that fast?
That's a great question. And what I'll say to that is, we base it on the things that we measure, our process. That's why you'll keep hearing me talk about our process. You don't want to always rank it towards what the league is saying versus what we're doing. And a lot of things that we did, to your point, there was a lot of positives in what we did. The possible times that we touched the paint, how many times we attempted to crash the glass, our transition points. Those numbers are things that we'll continue to look at. So that's how we can evaluate it from our side.
Jamahl, you've talked about in the past, you as a team talk about a lot of different things going on. I'm sure you saw the news yesterday, but what is your perspective on that, and is that something you talk about with the guys as just something that's going on?
Yeah, every team in the NBA goes through the protocols of what's coming your way. The gambling, the tipping, the betting, we all get the notes. Every team does it. I've talked to our team about it once again today, of understanding the scenario and what's happening, and they know and you know exactly what I know, what's only going on in the news right now, and that's all we can give them.
What was your reaction though, when you see the Magic mentioned in a DOJ indictment document, for a game that you coached in and have trust in?
Yeah, you look at it and you say, whoa, right, as one part, but the other part is that I think a lot of teams will be mentioned because of the way that things are going on, and this is what the nature of the league has gone to with the gambling and the betting, but there's also the education that everybody needs to be a part of to know what's going on and how it's happening, and it's not going away. And so our ability to be educated in what's happening is the biggest thing, and to be aware of the surroundings and who you put, who you're in contact with. I think those are always important pieces for each one of us to understand.
How confident are you in the integrity of every game, of every player that steps on the court, your players' opponents?
This league has done a tremendous job of giving that line of education to each one of us, and making sure that our coaches hit home on the guys and what needs to be done. And I think this league will continue to do a great job of making sure that's a high priority. And that's what I think is so important for us to move forward.
As coaches, you guys are kind of spokespeople for the league. People who might not be as embedded in the NBA, they might have a bad opinion now of the league. What's kind of your response to that? What do you think about maybe outside opinion? When they see these things spread over the news yesterday?
I think it's very important just to continue to gather information, to understand what's happening and how it's going on, and us being the spokespeople of what's happening is that you're encouraging people to get the education behind it and not just go for the quick hit, to understand exactly what teams are trying to do, the way the league is trying to educate all of us and how it's happening, because the sports betting and the gambling, it's not going anywhere because of the way we are as a league. And I think it's important that we just continue to keep our information pure and educate everyone on how it's happening and what's going on.
Coach, as you turn your attention to the Hawks, what are some of the strengths they possess, and what will your group be looking to do tonight?
Well, the number one focus obviously is Trae Young and what he's capable of doing on any given night, where we pick him up on the floor, how we mix the defenses up. They're a team that wants to get out and run, so our transition defense will be tested again. Jalen Johnson, for them being back in the lineup, after coming off of injury, is going to be a key ingredient for them. And they're a very aggressive team that looks to attack. We've got to make sure that we get back in transition. We talk our matchups and know our coverages when we're seeing multiple pick and rolls.
You talked a lot about the faith that you have in this team's bench group. It's been one of the strengths for this team over the last few years. How important was the play of that kind of second unit, that second group in the game on Wednesday, and how do you keep building on that?
I think you keep asking him for that. You show the positive of what they've done and how they responded to what we needed, and it's gonna be the same thing each and every night. But it will be a different person on any given night, and I think that's what this group understands. When your number's called upon, that you're ready to go.
What has Mo been able to do recently? Just where is he in his timeline? Obviously, further behind than Jalen, but just where do things stand?
Mo right now is just still doing the non-contact work. Continue to strengthen his body. But he's, his spirits are still great. You can see him on the bench throughout our games, continuing to coach, using his voice, using his encouragement. But for his body-wise, it's just still continue with the non-contact work.
What has stood out to you about Tristan's performance the other night?
I really do believe it's just his confidence. He has that swagger about him, and I think it goes back to what we've asked for of him, what his coaches have been talking to him about. His performance, this year overseas, I thought was great, and that just continuing to build that confidence and swagger as he plays.
You mentioned the confidence for him. Do you feel like this higher pace offense fits to his style a little bit better, the move and shoot, and being able to move off the ball?
The great part about Tristan is that he knows how to play either style of game. Whether we slow it down, he knows when to make the right cuts, when to play off the ball, when to move it, when to space the floor the right way. But part of this is that's how they played with the national team, and so he's used to the pace of play, when the shots are coming, how and where he's supposed to be on the floor.
Now for Trae Young, obviously you guys have one of the greatest defensive backcourts in the league. Are you planning on sending a lot of traps on him, or what's some of the game plans for Trae Young tonight?
It'd probably be smart that I don't give you the game plan, but I'm glad you tried to ask that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys, appreciate it. Thank you.